Terry Moran in Washington. This is Nightline, March 30th, 2010.
Good evening, I'm Terry Moran, and we begin tonight with the American militias, armed, constitutional, and increasingly active. There's been a sharp rise in militia activity recently, and over the past 72 hours, 9 members from one such group, Christian extremists calling themselves the Hutare. They were indicted and taken into custody by the FBI for allegedly plotting a violent anti-law enforcement attack. This incident has fueled the perception that the groups are sinister. But as Ryan Owens found out, many militia members say not only are they misunderstood, but they want to help.
They are not police officers.
Constant suppressive fire movement.
They're not active duty soldiers. But what these weekend warriors are doing in the woods near the Canadian border is perfectly legal. You're watching a Saturday training session of the 21st Battalion of North Idaho's Lightfoot Militia. A heavily armed force, we're told numbers more than 100. Although just about a dozen showed up on the Saturday we did. Along with an awful lot of shooting, they learned survival skills.
Insert the spike.
First aid lessons from one of their members, who's also a firefighter.
It's called the external jugular.
Their leader is Major Jeff Stankiewicz, an unemployed welder with 0 military experience.
The government should be afraid of its people so that it doesn't do stuff it's not supposed to do. And it would make them think twice.
Randall Klein is one of the newest members of the militia. He too lost his job and joined about a month ago.
What is it that you're worried about?
It's not just about Barack Obama, but certainly he's gotten me worried, and not just him, Nancy Pelosi, Harry Reid, all the rest. I mean, obviously, to me, they want to become dictators of the United States.
Well, it's like
these men and a few women are the new faces of this country's militia movement. Their numbers have exploded in the past year. Some say due to the recession. Others say their surge is largely because of the election of the first black president. Those who track militias say they all but disappeared over the last decade. The militias of the 90s were inspired by the standoff at Ruby Ridge, where federal agents shot and killed the wife of white supremacist Randy Weaver, and by the government's botched raid on the Branch Davidian compound in Waco, Texas. The men of today's militia still fear the government, but they worry more about the federal takeover of the healthcare system or the collapse of the economy than black helicopters and armed agents. We sat down with a few members of the Idaho militia to try to understand their motivations.
I started off handing out flyers to get our first meeting going. It was a year ago. It was April 15th at the first Tax Day Tea Party rallies. And I thought if we don't start preparing now, it might be too late. You never know what's coming around the corner.
What happens if the federal government goes bankrupt and the millions of people who were brought up on welfare all of a sudden don't get their checks? What are they going to do?
These men do share at least one belief with the militiamen of the past.
How much of this is about the right to bear arms for you?
Oh, okay. Second Amendment issues. I believe that it's the most important of the amendments. The Second Amendment is the one that puts the teeth in all the other amendments.
Even though they're based just miles from Ruby Ridge, in a part of the country known for white supremacy, they say bigotry is not part of their ideology.
In a constitutional militia such as what we are, racism has no place.
I've even had people ask me about Muslims joining the group. And I said, I would have no problem with Muslims joining the group, and they can't believe that.
Jeff was talking about letting Muslims in, and that'd be okay in theory, but a couple of us voiced the concern that we don't want to get shot in the back like what happened in Fort Hood.
They say they do not advocate violence against the government or its employees, and disavow groups like the Hutare militia, whose members were arrested this week accused of plotting to kill police officers. But the lines can be blurry. Hutare's website lists only 4 links, one of them the webpage for the North Idaho Lightfoot Militia. Still, local law enforcement officials say the militia here seems to be doing everything above board. They've met with the sheriff's department, even advertised their training.
As long as they, adhere to the Constitution of Idaho, adhere to the laws, that we don't have a problem with them organizing. It's just like any group. If you or I want to form a stamp collecting club, under our Constitution, you can form that club.
But the real authorities are quick to point out they will not be calling on the militia in an emergency.
We want to make sure we know the people that are coming to our crisis, and so we do background checks and we know our search and rescue people. This militia, we do not know them, their training levels or what their abilities are, so we would not call them.
Stankevich founded the Idaho Militia just a year ago and has been busy trying to convince the community not to fear them. He teaches kids in the local band, marches in parades. Militiamen even act as crossing guards at local events. On our way to that Saturday training in the woods, he explained why.
Does the militia have an image problem?
Oh, big time. Everyone in the country, if you ask them about the militia, it's a bunch of gun-toting, drunken rednecks who run around the woods shooting at anything that moves. And that's not who these guys are. They have jobs, they own businesses. These are not crazy people. These are regular, average, everyday guys.
But as we said, most we talked to, including Stankevich, don't have a job. And yes, most do take unemployment from the state. They argue it's insurance, not welfare. North Idaho's largest industry, logging, has been decimated, and unemployment here hovers near 20%. Economic uncertainty about themselves and their country is a driving force.
If you want to have free health care, and you want to have gay marriage, and you want to have, it doesn't matter, whatever you want to have, any welfare programs, line them all up in your state. The states were supposed to be different. So that way I could live in a state that believes, and live around people that believe the same sort of things that I believe for the most part. And liberals, if they wanted to live in another state, all around people who believe what they believe.
Speaking of state issues, the man firing that very large gun is hoping to be the next governor of Idaho. One of his major campaign promises, support a statewide militia.
I think in the way politics are going in the United States and the Tea Party movements, the whole atmosphere promotes people wanting to get prepared. And I think that's what this is all about.
Republican Rex Rommel raised eyebrows last year when he joked he'd like to buy a license to hunt President Obama. When he ran for Senate in 2008, he got a measly 5%. This year, he says things have changed.
It's because of the current administration's policies. The more they force upon the states, the more noise there is, the more concern people have, the less freedom there is. We're not going to allow them to come into the state and make what we believe are unconstitutional mandates. If these guys want to show a little force behind the scenes, I don't have a problem with that.
I keep telling the guys, I've said it at meetings, I don't know how many times, I'll be happy to be an old man with some really nice hunting and camping gear and have nothing ever happen. That would be the best.
I'm Ryan Owens for Nightline in Sandpoint, Idaho.
Armed and ready, if necessary. Our thanks to Ryan Owens for that. And when we come back,